Palestinian Media Watch has often reported on the statements made in the PA's media. Now, the Al Jadida newspaper is accusing PMW of incitement. Shalom to Dr. Itamar Marcus, Director of Palestinian Media Watch.
Shalom, shalom.
Now, Dr. Marcus, your organization is involved in exposing Arab incitement, and now you yourself are actually being accused of incitement. What's this all about?
PMW has been involved for 12 years now in not just understanding Palestinian incitement, but understanding their ideology, their goals, their beliefs and opinions, where they want to bring their people. It's way, way beyond just a question of incitement. And one of the things, and this irritates the Palestinian Authority, because our exposing their hatred, our exposing their schoolbook content has caused them great damage in the world. So it's not surprising that this week, after one of our bulletins, the Palestinian Authority official newspaper, Al Jadida, actually had an article where they accused us of incitement for being critical of their editor-in-chief. Now, what their editor-in-chief had done was he had an article where he glorified the murder of 10 Israelis, calling him the hero of the Intifada, and saying, therefore, he had to be released from prison in the prisoner exchange. Now, what was significant to us is that at a time when Fatah, at a time when Mahmoud Abbas is presenting himself to the world as a moderate, as someone who's promoting peace, his official newspaper is glorifying a murderer of 10 Israelis as a hero of the Intifada and as a Palestinian hero. One of the things that the Palestinians are going to have to learn is that if they are sincere about peace, they have to reject violence, and they have to teach their people that murderers are not heroes, that murderers are criminals, that murderers belong in jail. Until that happens, we don't have anyone to talk to on the other side, and I think that's why it's significant. This is coming from the official newspaper owned by the Palestinian Authority.
Now, does the staff of Al Jadida really believe you are guilty of incitement, or is this an attempt to silence you?
The newspaper, Al Jadida, which is owned by the Palestinian Authority, on a number of occasions have attacked Palestinian Media Watch. Their television has attacked us. Hamas TV has attacked us. As I've said, the newspaper and in general the Palestinian Authority appreciate that a great part of the real image to the world of the problems in Palestinian society come from Palestinian Media Watch. And our material is cited to them regularly, and they therefore, on numerous occasions, have condemned PMW, and as part of their attempt to defend themselves, they'll attack us and call us inciters against them.
Now, are the statements in Al Jadida any worse than what normally goes on in PA media?
Al Jadida is I would say, the voice of the Palestinian Authority, the print voice of the Palestinian Authority, just the same way that Palestinian television is the video voice, the verbal voice of the Palestinian Authority. So absolutely, this is representative of the messages that the leadership wants to give the people, and they have never, ever stopped promoting hatred against Israel, against Jews, since we started watching Palestinian television and reading Palestinian papers 12 years ago. They have never stopped actively promoting hatred of Israelis, of Jews, of Zionism, and continually denying a right to exist anywhere.
So are Al Jadida and the editorial staff independent, or under the control of Abu Mazen's Fatah PA?
The newspaper, as well as the television station, are both owned and totally controlled by the Palestinian Authority. In addition, they are actually controlled by what they call the President's Office. They are under the jurisdiction of the President's Office, of Mahmoud Abbas's office. So you can absolutely hold Mahmoud Abbas and the Fatah leadership personally responsible for everything that is going on in those newspapers. We're dealing with a very, very controlled society, and no messages that contradict the goals, opinions, beliefs of Palestinian society and Mahmoud Abbas could be appearing in their newspaper or their television.
On a related note, have there been any efforts by Abu Mazen's Fatah PA to end or even decrease the hate indoctrination?
A few years ago, after we had publicized an explicit call for genocide against the Jews, that was a regular theme on Palestinian television. One of the items was particularly I would say, problematic to world media, because it not only called for genocide of Jews, it also called for the subjugation of all non-Jewish countries. It called for the subjugation of Britain. It called for the subjugation of the United States. And this particular broadcast got a lot of publicity, a lot of pressure was put on the Palestinian Authority. And from that point on, they've continued to promote hatred, but they have stopped the explicit calls for genocide of Jews. So when you ask what are the messages and how they've changed, they do change. They change depending on how much the world demands of the Palestinian Authority. But right now, they're allowing the PA to continue promoting hatred, and as long as they're allowed to do it, the Palestinian Authority will continue to do it.
What do you see as the immediate goals for Palestinian Media Watch?
Palestinian Media Watch, I think, has a very, very important role in the coming months, both for Israel and for the whole world. And that is to let the world know the true ideology of Mahmoud Abbas and the Fatah as they express it to their own people. One of the results of the war in Gaza has been that the world, a lot of Israeli leadership, have put the Hamas in the negative category, in the bad category, and therefore presenting Fatah in the good category as a optimal replacement for the Hamas. Now, when we watch Fatah television, controlled by Mahmoud Abbas, we realize that the same hate messages are continuing on a daily basis. The messages in the school books that are controlled and written by the leadership are the same hate messages all throughout Palestinian society. There is delegitimization of Israel, the delegitimization of Jews, no recognition of Israel's right to exist. Fatah TV programs recently for children had sections on geography, and every single city of Israel was defined as Palestine in this children's program. Children were asked, for example, to name 6 ports in Palestine. And what were the ports? They were Eilat, Ashkelon, Ashdod, Haifa, and Jaffa. These were the 6 and Gaza. So these were the 6 Palestinian ports. And there were dozens and dozens of questions like this on geography, on a children's program, and this is Fatah. So the world has to understand that Fatah presents a very moderate image to the world in English, outside of the region, but to their own people, their messages are identical to the Hamas, and we don't yet have a peace partner from the Fatah until they start educating their people differently.
So now that a new government is in power, what kind of relationship do you expect to have with Netanyahu's coalition?
In the past, when Bibi Netanyahu was prime minister, we worked very, very closely with his office, and we are hoping, and I'm sure we will, work very closely with his office right now again. One of our great challenges is to make the Israeli government completely aware of the Palestinian world as we are aware of it here at Palestinian Media Watch, so that their policies can be based on understanding, a real understanding of who the Palestinians are. And again, I trust that we will work closely with the Netanyahu government. One of our goals, and we have to expand our programming to do this, one of our goals is to bring the message not just directly to the Israeli leadership, but to the entire Israeli population. We have goals to create programs on Israeli colleges. We want to create programs in Israeli high schools. We want to have Speakers Bureau going out and presenting the findings and the videos and the PowerPoint presentations that we have to the entire Israeli population, because we are convinced that once the Israeli population is totally aware of our reality, they will be supportive of our government and the decisions that they have to make, which are based on the reality.
Dr. Itamar Marcus, thank you very much.
You're welcome.